So video games are all about escapism and wish fulfillment, so it's rather understandable why developers have often made it a point of throwing in some insane features or weapons that are just too powerful for their own good. After all, is there anything more fun than rampaging through a game and feeling like a badass god? No, probably not. However, we have to admit that including such weapons and throwing balancing out of the window can have a huge impact on the game as a whole, meaning that in some cases, well, things get utterly broken. So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 overpowered weapons that broke video games. Number 10, the A280, Star Wars Battlefront 2. The most well-rounded and versatile go-to in the rebooted Battlefront series, the A280 is a blaster rifle that acts as the primary weapon for most Rebel Alliance players, and it is that balance that helps it absolutely dominate whatever battleground the players spawn in, be it online or off. Unlocked after bagging 50 kills with the Assault class, the A280's balanced approach sees it fire in 3 blast bursts, making it one of the most accurate weapons in the game. Its base damage is decent enough, and while it is certainly competent enough in the short and the long, it's the medium range potency which makes it such a powerful weapon in the heat of battle. What's more, with a couple of additions, the A280's blast base potential can be maximized even further. Improved cooling and dual zoom upgrades can be attached to this weapon, helping players fire further, longer, and cover even more of their bases. It is the perfect all-rounder, and therefore players can always rely on the A280 no matter the scenario they find themselves in. Number 9, the Golden Gun, GoldenEye. Wielded by Christopher Lee's Francisco Scaramanga in 1974's The Man with the Golden Gun, the Golden Gun, as the name suggests, is a pistol made entirely out of solid gold. Now, Scaramanga and the Golden Gun have become two of the most iconic features of the James Bond franchise, a legacy that helped the weapon make its way into the rather acclaimed GoldenEye game on the N64. Originally only available in the side mission Egyptian after solving a hidden puzzle, the gun stands out for its distinctive appearance as well as being the strongest weapon in the entire game. However, through a couple of handy cheats, this completely broken weapon can be spawned in wherever the player requires it. With its 100 damage and 0 inaccuracy, the gun instantly kills any enemy it connects with, allowing players to slice through any potentially troublesome obstacles in a game known for having its fair share of them. There are only a handful of instances where the Golden Gun's auto-kill function doesn't apply, making it one of the most game-breaking weapons to have emerged from the entire 90s era. Number 8, DAWNBREAKER, SKYRIM. So anyone who's put even a couple of hours into the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim will have undoubtedly stumbled upon a strange-looking orb in a chest in one of the early game locations. The booming voice of the Daedric god Meridia and her now infamous and unskippable "A New Hand Touches the Beacon" monologue might be the source of infuriation to more veteran players nowadays, but it also grants access to one of the most overpowered weapons in the entire game. Completing her quest, The Break of Dawn, will see players rewarded with the sword DAWNBREAKER, a unique weapon with a special potency against the undead. The sword has a base damage of 12, just one less than an ebony alternative, and can benefit from perks in the one-handed skill tree and comes complete with 2 unique abilities: burning undead enemies for 10 points and occasionally causing a fiery explosion that will destroy any other undead baddies. Not only will DAWNBREAKER make mincemeat of any low-level Draugr and vampires, but it's also a quick hack to overcoming some of the heaviest hitting classes and bosses that these undead opponents can produce. No weapon in the game has an ability like this, which, coupled with how difficult and common some of those Draugr bosses can be, firmly nestles DAWNBREAKER in the game-breaking group. Number 7, the Knife, WOLFENSTEIN: The New Order. So often in the world of gaming, the mantra of bigger equals better is often applied when it comes to producing the most powerful types of weapons. Whether they're based in the confines of the real world or not, these weapons usually deal in extravagance and explosions. However, WOLFENSTEIN: The New Order is on hand to remind gamers everywhere that even a humble knife can pack a punch. The only melee weapon players can use in the game, what makes the knife so overpowered is how much it lends itself to a certain sort of playstyle. Capable of cutting down both enemies in full combat and stealthily taking them down from the shadows, the New Order's knife also carries with it an upgrade where players can acquire the ability to throw knives, a feature that will one-shot most enemies. The fact that players have the option of cutting through even the toughest of metal armors and insta-kill enemies through just a simple knife throw to the thigh is utterly hilarious, and is a definitely broken mechanic, but also is one which we're all too happy to take advantage of in our playthroughs. Number 6, the Pistol, Halo Combat Evolve. Master Chief, Halo's main protagonist, was designed to be the ultimate soldier and a complete badass. Therefore, it's fitting that at no point is this on show better than when he's armed with just a simple pistol. Halo Combat Evolve's M6D personal defense weapon system might look on the face of things as just being another typical starting FPS weapon, but anyone who has had the pistol in their hands will know all too well how truly powerful this can be. What makes Combat Evolve's weapon so iconic was how it utterly took over the game's multiplayer modes. With all the fancy alien weaponry at their disposal, it should speak volumes about the pistol that most players found themselves being destroyed by such an unassuming weapon. Quite simply, the M6D brought it all to the table when it came to carving through enemies. Its damage was overall very high, especially against shielded opponents. Its firepower of roughly 210 rounds a minute is impressive, and the range in which it delivers its bullets also helped to make it so game-breakingly destructive. Number 5. The BFG 9000, Doom. The whole concept behind one of Doom's most iconic weapons is a fairly straightforward one for players to grasp. The big Gun 9000 has been in the series since the very first entry, and has carved out one of the most infamous reputations as a plasma cannon that shoots a giant green lightning blob capable of taking down any enemy in the game. These plasma blobs, 40 cells per blast, will continuously spark once fired and rampage across the screen, causing huge amounts of splash damage that will hit an entire group of medium demons and take them all out in a single go. The highest damage dealing weapon in the original Doom entry, the BFG 9000 will deal roughly 100 to 800 hit points worth of damage to any opponent that it makes contact with, resulting in up to 4,280 maximum damage being chucked out there. There are few things in gaming that can make someone feel quite as badass as frying hordes of denizens from the gates of hell in green plasma blobs being fired from the BFG 9000, allowing players to get out of even the hairiest situations without so much as breaking a sweat. Number 4. The Chicago Typewriter, Resident Evil 4. Now, Resident Evil 4 can be a tricky thing to complete, but thanks to the Chicago Typewriter, getting through the armies of parasites, monks, and commandos suddenly becomes an absolute breeze. It can take a bit of a grind for players to get their hands on the typewriter, with the weapon only being able to be purchased after they've picked up 300,000 points in the assignment Ada minigame, but once the typewriter is in players' hands, the game's campaign firmly moves into the game-breaking territory. This weapon has infinite ammo, doesn't require any reloading, and mows down enemies with 100 damage points per second. The Chicago Typewriter is one of those weapons that players can tell has just been thrown in by the developers as a bit of wild fun during the late game development, but that certainly shouldn't dampen just how overpowered it is. The weapon made its debut in Resident Evil 4, and unsurprisingly, because of just how powerful it is, has not been included in the series since. Maximum damage, infinite ammunition, and the ability to bludgeon even the heaviest hitting enemies, the Typewriter does a sterling job in bringing some chaotic carnage to this survival horror classic. Number 3. The Hidden Gun, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. So Assassin's Creed Brotherhood gave players practically an arsenal's worth of new weaponry following its release, making killing enemies far easier than it had ever been in the previous two titles. The ability to poison, crossbow, or even get some plucky recruits to kill targets for you from afar were all well received. However, it was the revamping of a weapon that had made its debut in Assassin's Creed 2 that really pushed things towards game breaking. In Assassin's Creed 2, players were given the ability to shoot a gun from their hidden blade roughly halfway into the storyline. This ability would require players to aim for about 5 seconds, however, making it a rather bad option in combat. But in Brotherhood, the weapon now fires much quicker and retains most of its overpowered damage output, killing pretty much any enemy in the game. Armies of enemies could be mowed down in successive one-shots without players needing to use more than just one button, and entire assassination sequences could be completely skipped over with just one simple firing of this hidden gun. So whilst the crossbow and poison darts do a similar thing, no other weapon in Assassin's Creed history has done so much damage right from the get-go. Number 2. The AMR, Far Cry 3. The tropical paradises of Far Cry 3's Rook Islands elevated the series to the heights that it continues to hit today, with the breathtaking performance from Vaas helping to push the gaming world into the cinematic masterpieces that gamers are familiar with today. And yet, with the developers choosing to emphasize adventure and exploration, the game also produced a number of memorable items that allow players to feel like a wild killing machine. But none of these items or weapons comes close to matching the power that the AMR brings to the table. Available for players to purchase for just $4,800 after collecting 20 relics, the AMR is a variant on the 793 weapon, which is the best sniper rifle in the game. The AMR fires powerful explosive armor-piercing rounds and excels at taking foes down from long distances. It can kill a bear in one hit and take down a helicopter in just 2 shots, making it one of the most brutally satisfying weapons Ubisoft has ever thrown into the Far Cry series. It may be a little lacking when it comes to being subtle, however there's no denying just how broken the AMR can make Far Cry 3 feel when it's being wielded. And number 1, the Alien Blaster, Fallout 3. Undoubtedly the most powerful energy weapon in Fallout 3 and a strong contender for one of the most overpowered guns in the series' history, the Alien Blaster can be found at either Adams Air Force Base or the Alien crash site in the game. Instantly, what makes the Alien Blaster so game-breakingly overpowered in comparison to other weapons in the title is how a critical hit is always guaranteed whenever it's used. Most enemies will be killed in a single blow to the head, whilst even big baddies like Deathclaws are taken down in just 2 clicks with the blaster. Capable of firing up to 125 shots shots before breaking, the Alien Blaster also has the badass ability to fully disintegrate the enemies that it critical hit kills. The Alien Blaster can be considered game-breaking due to how, no matter the build or playstyle the player is going for when they load up Fallout 3, that they can always pick up this weapon and use it to mow down opponents. The Alien Blaster is just that damn good, and will make even the messiest of rampages work out. And there we go, my friends, those were 10 overpowered weapons that broke video games. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ, but the O is a 0, or you can swing by Instagram where it's the same handle, RetroJ, but the O is a 0. I hope to see you over there, my friends. But before I go, I just want to say one thing. Hope you're treating yourself well with love and respect, because you deserve all of the best things in life, alright? And do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise. You are a massive ledge, and you deserve all the good stuff, alright? Now go out there and absolutely smash it. I believe in you. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.